pale, soft, and exudative. PSE, meat as a result of the rapid postmortem pH decline while the muscle temperature is too high. The most common factor leading to PSE is short-term stress, which is exposing animals to acute stress just before slaughtering. Short-term stress that can lead to PSE include the use of electrodes or beating of animals prior to slaughter. In PSE meats, the rate of acidification after slaughter is stimulated faster than normal, and lower pH values are reached in the muscle when the temperature of the carcass is still high. Lastly, acidification occurs in muscles postmortem due to the breakdown of glycogen to lactic acid. The combination of low pH and high temperature in PSE meat causes the denaturation of some muscle proteins, and leading to reduction in their water holding capacity. This happens because, the myofibrillar components expel the resulting fluid into the extracellular space, which increases in volume. When such meat is cut, the fluid is released, resulting in the exudates. A large amount of exudates reflects poor water holding capacity as found in PSE meats. The low pH in PSE also promotes the oxidation of heme pigments, from purple or red myoglobin and oxymyoglobin to brown meat myoglobin. Next, the objective are to examine the quality of PSE meat at various times after slaughter, to investigate the biochemical and physical characteristics of PSE meat. For sample preparation, the fresh chicken carcass was obtained from Kedai process located in Kampong Raja. The sample was cut and divided into two parts, one was chilled in an ice box after slaughtering to serve as control, while another one was left for 2 hours and 4 hours PSE. Breast and drumstick were taken from each part, weighed and cut into small pieces for analysis. Next, the first analysis is color determination by using a calorimeter. The surface of pectoralis was wiped with a paper towel, then the surface color was measured. This is the result obtained from the color analysis of samples. First, the light color of PSE is by the small myofibrillar volume in the muscle tissue. Second, muscle tissue with a small myofibrillar volume has a high light scattering ability. Third, light scattering from surface of meat caused by difference in refractive indices of myofibril and sarcoplasmic. Fourth, the higher L, the meat become paler. Fifth, the amount of absorbed light is low at high scattering, and the pigments selectively absorb green light, reducing the normal red color. Lastly, the PSE meat is more pale. After that, samples were then subjected for pH determination by using a pH meter. The ratio between sample to distilled water used was 1:5 ratio. The samples must be minced first before tested. The result obtained from the pH analysis of samples was recorded in this table. The pH for control of the breast and drumstick after 4 hours is pH 6.38 and pH 6.42. For the PSE sample, the result significantly decreased after 2 and 4 hours of breast and drumstick. pH for the PSE sample of breast and drumstick was lower compared to the pH of the control. The rate of acidification after slaughter was stimulated faster than normal, and lower pH values are reached in the muscle when the meat temperature was still high. The combination of low pH and high temperature resulting protein denaturation and water loss. Analysis of water holding capacity was done. First of all, the sample was weighed at 3 grams and the sample was placed in between the Whitman paper. Then, aluminium was used to cover it and the sample was pressed with a 2.5 kilograms load. After 3 minutes, the sample was weighed and calculated using a given formula. This is the result obtained after the calculation was done. Results show decrease in WHC value. Next, denatured proteins cannot hold, or bind, muscular water as well as fully native proteins, the myofibrillar components, the myofilament lattice, expel the resulting fluid into the extracellular space, which increases in volume. The length of the myosin filament is reduced by around 8 to 10% during this process. Lastly, decrease in WHC can cause increase in excessive drip loss. Lastly, samples were undergo for shear force determination by using a Warner-Brotzeler shear force instrument. Here, the work of shear, which represents the toughness of the samples, will be obtained. The samples were cut to 1 cm width, 1 cm thick and 3 cm length, which must parallel to myofiber. Samples sheared perpendicular to muscle fiber orientation. This is table result for the shear force determination. From the result, we can see the toughness of the sample shows an increase in the value resulting decrease in tenderness. The shear force in the breast and drumstick were higher compared to the shear force of the control. The shear force obtained by breast and drumstick in the PSE sample after 4 hours were 1.695 and 2.377, while the control were 1.462 and 2.135. Within high shear force, it became a hard gummy texture, that is tough enough to chew. However, due to certain technical errors, the result for the firmness of both samples cannot be assessed. Here are some preventive measures. First, gently loading and unloading onto vehicles. Loading should be done in a quiet atmosphere, avoiding the use of sticks and other forms of force. Second, develop resistant stress of breeds. Temperate breeds are more susceptible to stress but have good growth rate. A combination of genotypes from both temperate and tropical regions could be useful in reducing the incidence of PSE. Third, suitable vehicles from transporting. A T should have enough ventilation and well maintained as well as provide shade, water and feed for the animals. Lastly, transporting time. Keep transportation and marketing times short. This implies that farms, markets and abattoirs should be situated close to each other. As conclusion, PSE is the result of combination low pH and high temperature that adversely affects muscle proteins. Secondly, PSE demonstrates that the rate of acidification after slaughter was accelerated. Thirdly, decreased WHC value of PSE meat is related to its low pH. Fourthly, changes in pH affect how light is reflected and absorbed. And lastly, electrical stunning can be used to treat the PSE condition. Thank you for listening.